Welcome to Suffolk Matters, where all of Suffolk County meets the men and women of Suffolk AME. News, opinions, and insights you won't hear anywhere else. Filling in for AME President Dan Leveler, here's your host, AME's Chief of Staff, Ryan McGarry.
All right, good morning to our listeners. I'm AME Chief of Staff Ryan McGarry, filling in for President Leveler today. And with us this morning is Paule Pachter, CEO of Long Island Cares. Paul, welcome back to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Ryan. Thanks for inviting me.
No, we love having you on, and we're just talking offline about how we wish we had you on more often. But May Day is right around the corner, one week from yesterday, and obviously we love at AME, the workforce of the county loves partnering with Long Island Cares, helping put food on our neighbor's table, and we're proud to continue the tradition of naming Long Island Cares as one of the beneficiaries of this great music festival, Saturday, May 13th. But Paul, tell us a little bit about Long Island Cares and its mission, just so the listeners know what we're talking about.
Well, Long Island Cares and the Harry Chapin Regional Food Bank works in both counties to address the issue of food insecurity. We have 8 locations right now throughout Nassau and Suffolk, including our newest property, which is the Center for Community Engagement in Hauppauge. And we deliver right now about 12 million pounds of food to 350 community-based organizations, the pantries and the soup kitchens and the daycare programs. But also the focus that we've had now for about 15 years is providing direct services to high-risk populations. So that includes the homeless, veterans, seniors, children, of course. We're still dealing with 230,000 Long Islanders who, are having trouble putting food on their tables, and that includes 68,000 children. And here, here's Long Island Cares 43 years later. We're still at it, with no end in sight, unfortunately.
No, such a huge number, and I think folks don't fully appreciate how vast the problem of food insecurity is here on Long Island. As you said, over 200,000 folks struggling, and in a county of 1.5 million people. It's a large percentage. And obviously during COVID, you had a huge increase in demand. But, I think some folks, life went back to normal, and they don't realize that right after COVID, now we're struggling with inflation, and demand has continued to be high. Can you speak to how the current economy is affecting the need for food amongst our neighbors?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Ryan. First of all, what's happening with the economy and how it's impacting people who have already been struggling to put food on their table is as a result of the cost of goods, the average market basket, you see that the price of gas for your car has gone up by about 20% in the last 20 cents in the last few weeks. People are still struggling. They can't afford everything. And so what we're seeing right now at the 6 pantries that we operate is about a 66% increase in the number of people that are coming. They don't need everything. They need some things. So if we have fresh eggs, if we have fresh milk, if we have chicken parts, if we have ground beef, people will come and they'll ask for just the items they need, including fresh produce. But what it's been doing is really stretching our resources at a time when the cost of goods are going up for Long Island Cares as well. We're paying about 35% more now for the food that we purchased. Right now, we're looking at about anywhere from $1.25 to $1.35, and yet 3-4 years ago, we were paying 89 cents a pound. So inflation is hitting not only Long Island Cares, but all 200 food banks across the country. So, we're hoping that at some point in time we can get inflation under control and people can take a breath and, get back to where they were before COVID.
No, that's such an important concept, and I hope our listeners really understand it. And I want to ask you how our listeners can help support the mission of Long Island Cares. But before I do, I just want to echo that point you made, where as consumers are feeling the crunch of inflation, of course, that translates to you as an organization as well. You have to pay more for the food that you're procuring to give to the people in need. You have to pay more for fuel when you're trucking the food around. So the resources just don't go as far as they used to. And therefore, we who are lucky enough or fortunate enough to be able to support the mission of Long Island Cares have to be doing even more than we normally would be just to meet the normal thresholds where you typically were. But again, because I asked for our listeners, how can they support Long Island Cares? Where can they go? Obviously, we hope they come out next Saturday, May 13th, the May Day Music Festival. Great time, a celebration of labor, solidarity, community, Wallflowers, Blues Traveler playing. They can bring food and know that all net proceeds will go to charities, including Long Island Cares. But beyond the events alone, how can folks get involved? How can folks help out?
Well, people can get involved and help Long Island Cares and the Harry Chapin Food Bank in many ways. It's not just about, making a donation or writing a check. We do have opportunities for people to visit the food bank and volunteer in sorting and repacking the food donations that come into the food bank every day. They can volunteer at any one of our 8 locations where we have our pantries as well, including at our pet pantry in Lindenhurst, which people seem to enjoy doing, feeding dogs and cats. Or they can simply follow us on social media, get to learn what we're up to, maybe visit a couple of our special events. We had a wonderful special event this week at the Jones Beach Environmental Center, where a lot of people from the corporate community got together to support the organization. So if people want to get involved, they can, log on to our website at licares.org, click the volunteer link, and fill out the brief form, and we'll be in touch with you shortly. Or they can, visit us at any one of our locations or give us a call at 631-582-FOOD. We'd love to have you.
No, that's fantastic. And volunteering is such an important aspect, and it's so rewarding in itself. I know that during COVID, I was fortunate enough to get involved in local food distribution, and it's just such a rewarding experience to know you're making an impact on people's lives. And obviously, we work closely with Long Island Cares to do that. So other than May Day coming up next week, any other upcoming events that you guys are looking forward to? I know you do a partnership with Nassau County in the summer.
Well, this summer, once again, the Harry Chapin Tribute Concert will take place in Eisenhower Park. Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, who's been working very closely with us over the past year or so, is going to be proclaiming July 16th, Harry Chapin Day in Nassau County this year. And there's going to be a 5-hour tribute concert with numerous acts in the park. Public is invited. It's a free event. We encourage people to bring a donation of non-perishable food, and we usually, collect about 5,000 pounds at that program. Wow. So we're looking forward to the expanded program this year. We're working on our second annual Pause Walk, which will be held in October. Also in August, there's going to be a free concert at Heckscher Park in Huntington that's being sponsored by Daddario and Company that showcases their staff and their musical talents. It's just about a 3-hour jam session. We just finished up with a concert at the end of March with the Manhattan Transfer, which went over very well. We were pleased to have them on board and working with them. And also just finished working with Bruce Springsteen at the UBS Arena, where his fans contributed to Long Island Cares during his concerts. And as you said, we're really looking forward to the May Day Festival because it's been so successful. And it's become really, a premier event here on Long Island. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, no, we're definitely looking forward to it, and we're so proud to be partnering with you once again on this initiative. New venue this year. We're going to be at Bald Hill Amphitheater, Catholic Health Services, Bald Hill Amphitheater. Great lineup, Wallflowers, Blues Traveler, Wheatus, John Hampson from 9 Days, and then a ton of local bands, family fun. Kids 12 and under are free. So we really encourage folks in the community to come out, know that when they're buying tickets that they're supporting a good cause. And then we also encourage them, as you said, to bring food out, to bring food donations. You guys will have trucks on site to collect food. You'll also have a booth on site just so folks can get more information about the organization, how to get involved, and interact with your staff and volunteers firsthand. That's May 13th, May Day Music Festival at Bald Hill Amphitheater. And now, Paul, you guys have also been doing a lot of work up in Albany, I know. I know just this last week, the state budget finally got finalized. What did that budget mean for you guys and the work you do?
Well, the budget is critical to the food banks in many ways. We started off the legislative session, the budget process this year, with the governor proposing a $22 million reduction in funding for the Hunger Prevention Nutrition Assistance Program, which really is the major funding source for food banks in New York State. Long Island Cares happens to administer that budget for Long Island. But when all was said and done, and we're getting to the point where all three departments of state government, the Senate, the Assembly, and the governor's office, have come to an agreement in which the legislators have put back the $22 million into the hunger prevention program. So we're very excited about that. It gives us excellent resource for the next 5 years. It's a 5-year contract. So we'll be able to do a lot more, including procuring additional fresh produce from New York State and Long Island. And so we're looking forward to that. And I will say that the Long Island delegation in Albany were instrumental in making this happen. Many of the legislators, both sides of the aisles, have been meeting with us for weeks in preparation of the budget proposals. And we're very grateful that that money was put back into the budget and we could move forward now.
No, that's very encouraging to hear. And for our listeners, again, my name is Ryan McGarry, filling in for President Dan Leveler this morning. With us is CEO Paule Pachter of Long Island Cares, talking about the great work that Long Island Cares does for our community, helping to address food insecurity. And Paul, earlier in the show, you mentioned the large number of children who are food insecure. And, you know, I just want to talk about that because that's such an important aspect. What does being food insecure do to a child, and what does it do for their chances of future success, both in school and long term?
Well, it has a significant impact on the child's ability to learn in school. If a child is hungry, if he or she hasn't had enough to eat for breakfast or lunch, it interferes with their ability to concentrate. It could lead to physical problems, medical issues. But, you know, we're talking about 68,000 children, and we're talking about close to 90% of all the school districts on Long Island have 50% or more children utilizing the free or reduced school breakfast and lunch program. That says a lot about Long Island. It says a lot about the communities, and it says a lot about people. You know, when you have 124 school districts and about 80-90% of them are offering the free meal program, even in, you know, wealthy and progressive communities like Syosset and Jericho, there are children that need the free and reduced breakfast and lunch program. And right now, we're very concerned with proposals coming out of Washington, especially in the Congress, that seek to reduce funding for the SNAP program, for the Women, Infants, and Children's program, and hunger in general. That's going to have a very negative impact upon the kids. But we're very pleased that the New York State budget includes additional money for the school-based meals program. And that's very important in helping us reduce the incident of food insecurity amongst kids.
No, incredibly important work. And I know in addition to helping to address food insecurity for children and working with the school districts, you guys have also been getting involved with diversity, equity, and inclusion and reaching out to minority populations. Can you tell us a little bit about the work you're doing there and how you're kind of changing your approach to meet the demands of those populations? That's
a great question. I'm very happy to answer it. We received recently a $160,000 grant through Feeding America to embark on a diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, which really brought together our member agencies in communities where there are high concentration of our African American neighbors, our Latinx and Hispanic neighbors, the Middle Eastern population, as well as our being able to expand to work with the residents on the Shinnecock Reservation out in eastern Suffolk County. So what we're doing is doing a series of focus groups with the populations, finding out what their needs are in terms of culturally appropriate food. We're purchasing that food. We're looking at kosher meals. We're looking at halal meals. And so we're able to address the needs of the populations for food that they would simply normally have in their diet. Things that may not be readily available on Long Island, but since we purchase a lot of our food, we have vendors that can provide those kind of meals and food for us. So we're making a difference in raising awareness It's important that, whether you're food insecure or not, that if you have a diet and there are foods that you prefer, that you have access to them. And I think we're seeing a very good return from the communities and especially our member agencies who are, telling us how thankful people are that are coming to the pantries and they can, they can identify food that they want, whether it's the, yucca plants or whether it's, oxtail or whether it's, curries and heavy on different kind of, rices. We're trying our best to meet the need. And so far it's working out very nicely.
No, that's fantastic. And I know it's such an important component to meet the needs of the population you're trying to serve. And Paul, before we let you go, I just want to return to the reason why we're here today, and that is because we do want to promote the May Day Music Festival next week. But I just want to talk about, it's Long Island Cares, the Harry Chapin Food Bank, and that overlap of music and service and what it means to the organization.
Well, I think, Ryan, that's why we're so excited about the May Day Festival, and we're so fortunate to work with so many people in the music industry because of who our founder was. Harry Chapin had many, many friends in the business, working with companies like the Dario and Korg USA that have been supportive of Long Island Cares for years. To have donors like Billy Joel and Bruce Springsteen and Dee Snider and, not to drop, 1,000 names, but music is part of Long Island Care's DNA. And anytime we can do something in the music space, that's what we want to do. And, Suffolk AME with the May Day Festival really has, added another layer to the great events that we do relative to music, because when people come out to music events and they make the connection between Long Island Cares, Harry Chapin, and the event, we all benefit, especially the people we serve.
No, that's fantastic. And to our listeners, we really hope to see you next week on May 13th. We encourage you to bring some food. Mm-hmm. We'd love to break 1,000 pounds raised, and obviously looking forward to doing some more great work all year long with Long Island Cares. For our listeners who want to learn more or get involved, again, the address is longislandcares.org. Mm-hmm. Ryan McGarry, Chief of Staff for AME, filling in for President Dan Leveler. Paul Pachter, CEO of Long Island Cares. Paul, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Ryan. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. With us now, we're joined by the Port Jeff School of Rock. We have Tracy, Matt, Ryan, and Juliana. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
No, so we've been talking all morning about the May Day Music Festival coming up just next week. A week from yesterday. It's going to be May 13th at Bald Hill Amphitheater in Farmingville, headlined by Blues Traveler and the Wallflowers, Wheatus, and John Hampson of 9 Days. And of course, we're very excited to bring the students of Port Jeff School of Rock back onto the festival, back onto the stage, and looking forward to a great day. So guys, can you tell us a little bit about Port Jeff School of Rock?
So we're a performance-based music program. We are the world's largest. There are 350 locations worldwide, and we obviously are hailing from Port Jefferson. And Jamie and I are excited. We are opening a second location in Riverhead, and that hopefully will be open by the end of the year. We are in contract on a building, so we're
congratulations.
We're really excited. Yes.
Oh, that's very exciting, and we're excited to bring you guys back to the May Day Music Festival. Port Jeff School of Rock has been with us since the beginning, and it's such a thrill to have the students perform. I remember year one back in 2019, we had you guys at a stage right up front, and folks were just blown away, thinking that they were already in seeing the headliners, because that's how talented the students are, and we're so excited to bring them back and continue this relationship. So we can't thank you so much, thank you enough. But again, tell us a little bit more about the expansion, if you wouldn't mind, and what that means. And
well, we were really excited to get the opportunity to expand out onto the eastern end of Long Island. We've had a lot of requests to do so. We've had a lot of kids throughout the years who've driven to us from the Hamptons, from Wading River, and of course, yes, Remsenburg. Mm-hmm. So we've had a lot of requests to move out there, and we bought the territory 2 years ago from School of Rock, and we just couldn't find the right place to open, and we had a few different places kind of mapped out. We thought about Southampton, and we thought about, a few different places, and Riverhead just seemed to be really up and coming, and we found the right space and a good fit, and we're really excited about it.
No, that's great. And for our listeners, what are some of the programs that School of Rock offers?
Well, so we start as young as 3.5 years old with our Little Wing class, and then the next step up from there, we've got our rookies class, which is like 5 and 6 years old. Then 7 is when we start our private lessons, and we have our Rock 101 program and our performance program, which those are our marquee programs where the kids come in, they learn how to play songs in a band, and not only learn how to master their instruments, but how to work together as a group. It helps build confidence, and you get really good team building skills coming out of the program. Then after you go through the performance program, you build up your talent. Then you could audition for our house band, who's going to be performing at May Day Music Festival. It's the top less than 5% of students at our school, and they get to play all different venues throughout the summer and learn challenging music and just kind of be our group that we send out and do promotional gigs. And then from there, there's also nationwide, there's the All-Stars program, which they get to play some really cool events throughout the year. Like they've played Lollapalooza in the past.
Wow.
They're playing, Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado. And that's the top less than 1% of students from around the world. And so every School of Rock student can aspire to audition for that.
And Matt's one of the directors.
Oh, yeah.
For the All-Stars.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
So-
Ryan will also be going on tour as well.
Yeah, I'll be running one of the 7 teams. I'm running the North Atlantic team, which is New York and north from here. So all kids from, again, around the world will be auditioning and being split up into those 7 teams. And then we also have our adult band and our summer camps. And Ryan runs the adult band.
It's a very interesting but fun group.
Yeah. And then Juliana runs all the Little Wing and the rookies classes.
No, that's fantastic. So it's something for everyone, Matt. It
Yeah,
sounds
exactly.
like even people without talent like myself can go meet with Ryan, and as an adult can
Take some
That
lessons
would
and
be
come on
me.
down.
I
fantastic.
take piano now.
And then you'll have the students
Super
who can rise above and compete or play with
Yeah.
some of the world-class musicians and tour some of these great venues. And Matt, I'm glad you pointed it out too, because it's so much more than just music that you guys are teaching or instilling in the youth that go through the classes. It's teamwork, it's communication, it's confidence building. And I just was wondering if you could speak to some of the success stories of that, of students kind of coming out of their shell or finding themselves through music and through your lessons.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say that's even me. I was a former student, and now here I am working at the school and running the program. So when I started off, I personally was like in school, I wasn't into sports, and that's such like a big focus for a lot of public schools is like doing football, baseball, but like there's not so much of an outlet or like a way for kids who are more creative doing more in the arts. And then so when I joined School of Rock, and there were all of these kids in the same in that same wheelhouse where everyone has a common interest, it kind of brings all of your everyone together and everyone becomes friends. And then that's where these kids gain confidence, because in the again in the public schools, like they might not find their group, but here everyone's together, and the that feeling of being accepted, like everyone's welcome at the school. And so it gives that kind of feeling of home. And then through there, they get to go on stage and try on a different personality, essentially. They might be the quiet kid in school, but then the second they hit a stage, they're belting like Judas Priest in front of everybody and like rocking out. So it really is life-changing for a lot of kids. I would say a majority of our kids come in hiding behind their parents, but like when they're being introduced, but then after like a couple months of being in the program, they're the ones walking in like, hey, how's it going? Like waving to the entire staff, talking to other students. It changes kids' lives, essentially.
No, that's beautiful. And again, for our listeners, I'm Ryan McGarry, AME Chief of Staff, filling in for President Leveler. With us right now is the Port Jeff School of Rock. We have Ryan, Tracy, Matt, and Juliana. And we're talking about the May Day Music Festival, and you can see these students live on stage along with some big-time headliners, including Blues Traveler, Wallflowers, Wheatus, John Hampson of 9 Days, all coming up next week, May 13th, at the Bald Hill Amphitheater in Farmingville. And now, not only can folks see the students from Port Jeff School of Rock, but this year you guys have partnered up with the Farmingdale and Sayville School of Rock, and those students will also be performing. How did that relationship develop, Tracy?
So Joel Camp is the owner of the Farmingdale School of Rock, and he expanded a couple of years ago into the Sayville market. So I've been working with him for probably about 8 years. He's been involved with School of Rock, and he and Amelia have been really great neighbors to us. We've worked together. We've done quite a few shows with the Farmingdale House Band, and this will be our first time performing with the Sayville House Band. So we are looking forward to that and meeting those kids. And it really gives our kids an opportunity to network with other musicians throughout Long Island. So it's always a good experience for them to kind of branch out and meet other musicians.
No, that's fantastic. And Ryan, I'm very interested, and I hope our listeners are too, on these adult programs, because we know Port Jeff School of Rock does a great job educating and teaching our children music and everything Matt described, all the underlying things beyond music alone, confidence and teamwork. But what does it mean to be teaching adults? What is that like? And what type of students do you get in the adult world?
So we get all sorts of students for the adult world. We go from people who it's their first time playing an instrument, where they're taking lessons, and then they come to us on Tuesday nights and actually get to use what they're doing in their lessons. We have people who they just want to get together and play music. I have two brothers that they're like, yeah, we used to play in high school. We don't want to form a band, but we want to play, so here we are. We have people who coming out of retirement where it's like, yeah, I used to play way back when, and now, I'm 80 years old and I want to play again. So we get them all in there.
All right, so Port Jeff School of Rock, adult classes, children's classes, some exciting things coming up. Your new Riverhead expansion, partnership with Farmingdale and Sayville School of Rock. And now, new for the first time, I hear you guys are going to go on tours. Is this real?
Yeah, so we're taking our students on a tour down the East Coast. We're starting in Philadelphia and working our way down to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Throughout all the years of Tracy being open, she's made a lot of friends with other owners from around the country, and then we got to meet a lot of awesome music directors that just work at the different schools. And so I reached out to a bunch of them, and they're happy to be hosting us. So we're gonna do a day in each of their cities. We're doing Philadelphia, 2 shows in Philadelphia, Princeton, New Jersey. We're going down to D.C., so like the Silver Springs School of Rock is going to be hosting us there. We're going to be in Virginia Beach, and we're doing, like I said, Chapel Hill, North Carolina is going to be that end of the line for us. But total of 6 show nights and playing with, I think, a total of 10 house bands from around the country, just all at each of these shows.
That's amazing. Yeah. And what's the age range of the students who are going on tour with you?
The youngest student, I think, is 13. And the oldest is 17 or 18. So it's all essentially high school age students, and they're on all different instruments, guitar, bass, drums, keys, and vocals. And we also have a saxophone player coming with us. And there's 26 students total, and we've got a tour bus and a bunch of hotels waiting for the chaos. So
fantastic. Yeah. And what type of venues are you students playing at on this tour? Are you playing at?
Yeah. So the first 2 performances, the ones in the Philly area, are actually going to be at the schools, because those 2 schools have their own venues attached to them. So we'll be playing at their house venues. When we're in Virginia Beach, we're playing at a place called the Bunker Brew Pub, which is right on the boardwalk, right on the beach. So it's going to be really cool being able to play at an oceanfront venue. And then in Chapel Hill, we're going to be playing at a place called Local 506, which is apparently a very awesome venue down there that it's one of their regular places that they play. So we're looking forward to playing at a bunch of new places. When we're in Princeton and D.C., we still have to get that worked out. We're still working on the venues, but I'm sure wherever we end up is going to be awesome there as well.
No, very exciting stuff. We're so glad and grateful to have the partnership. We at AME with Port Jeff School of Rock to put together the May Day Music Festival coming up next week. Such an amazing organization. So for our listeners who are interested in these classes and maybe getting involved themselves or getting their children involved, where do they go? How can they find out more information?
You could definitely go start with our website, portjefferson.schoolofrock.com. You'll see just an overview of all the programs, but really the best thing you could do is just give us a call, stop in, and talk to one of us. We'll answer any questions that anyone has and get everyone set with a free trial lesson. So no matter who you are, if you've never been to a School of Rock, we want to make sure that you get a great experience. So the first lesson is going to be on us. It's 30 minutes long, and then you get to meet one of our instructors and check out the school.
No, that's fantastic, Matt. And since you guys are musicians yourselves and educators, I do want to talk a little bit about music and the lineup for May Day Music Festival. Are there any bands in particular that you guys are excited about?
I mean, I'm always excited when Wheatus is around. So, yeah, they judged a best of season that we had in New York City probably, I don't even remember how many years ago that
You
was
were a
now.
student.
I was a student, so that
9
means it
years
was,
ago?
yeah, it had to be like, 9 years ago, I think. And so Wheatus is always awesome. I'm excited to see Blues Traveler. Like, it's, and even the bands I haven't heard of, it's always great to hear new music and grow my music knowledge, so.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah, we're excited about Wheatus too, a Long Island band, and they're joined by John Hampson of 9 Days, another Long Island band, and these two bands hit it big, and we're just so grateful that they didn't forget their roots, and they're helping us out playing the May Day Music Festival. And for our listeners who aren't familiar, it's a great time, family-friendly festival, Bald Hill Amphitheater next Saturday, May 13th. Family fun, all net proceeds going to charitable causes. And we encourage folks to bring some food. Earlier in the morning, we were talking to Paul Pachter, CEO of Long Island Cares. We do have an on-site food drive going on that day. So come out, bring your family, bring your friends. It's going to be a great day of live music. You're going to see some amazing students from the Port Jeff School of Rock. You're going to see some amazing headliners from Blues Traveler and Wallflowers. You can bring some food and know you're having a great time for a great cause. Before I let you guys go, anything else you want to let our listeners know about?
I would just like to thank you, Ryan, for including us in this wonderful festival. The kids really look forward to it, and I think getting them in proximity with these awesome professional bands really kind of helps their learning process as well. So we really do appreciate everything that you've done for us.
Oh, no, we appreciate the relationship, and we appreciate everything you guys do for the festival and for the students. And I look forward to May Day 2029 when some of your now students are in bands of their own and maybe they're headlining. So we look forward to seeing the great successes that will surely come. And to our listeners, again, Ryan McGarry, AME Chief of Staff, filling in for President Leveler this morning. We look forward to seeing everyone next Saturday, May 13th, at the May Day Music Festival. Thanks so much.